Hi Fremont, I'm Kim Vagadori. Today we're going to be reading Matthew 25. There's a lot of text in here and we won't have time obviously to go over all of it. So I just want to highlight a couple of the stories that really flow together and really connect in with something I'd love to share with you today about what's been on my heart. So in the second parable, we hear about a master who is given gold or talents, depending on the Bible that you're reading, to his servants to go out. And each three of them get different amounts based on their abilities. And when they come back, two of those servants have essentially grown that wealth. They went out, they did something with it, they brought it back, and there's more of it. And there's one that hid it and didn't do anything. He just went out, he hid it, and then he came back with the same amount. And so the master praises those two, the same amount of praise, even though they brought back different amounts. But it's the same amount of praise to recognize that they took what he had and went out with it and did something with it. And the third didn't get that praise. He didn't get that recognition. He didn't go out and do and share and grow. And so that leads us into the next text where we learn about the judgment of nations. And there we hear Jesus saying, I will judge the righteous and the unrighteous. And so when he's looking at the righteous, he reads a long list of all of the things that these people have done, and not only done for him, but have done in his name because of his teaching. And so in Matthew 25:40, he says, the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. And so something that's so remarkable about that is not only were they doing these things for others, on behalf of Jesus, and then being recognized for the work that they were doing that because of his teaching. And I think that that is what is so beautiful, is that they went out and they did, and they acted on his behalf for his people, and the result for him. And they were awarded for that and acknowledged for that from Jesus. And so that just makes me think about, and I don't know if any of you have been having this on your heart recently. It's September. It's 20 years past 9/11. On 9/11 this year, I remembered exactly where I was 20 years ago. It feels like it was yesterday. I remember the moment that I learned about the first plane. I remember the moment I learned about the second plane and everything that was to unfold from that. And while there is so much sorrow from that day, I remember the weeks after of myself, of my friends. I was in college at the time, of everything that we sought to do to help. We wanted to be helpers. This happened across the country, and we wanted to be helpers. We wanted to do something to help the people who were hurting, to help our country, to help others. And I just think about that moment with, again, so much sorrow, but just feeling this longing to have a time where there was unity, where people were looking out for other people beyond themselves. And that feels so close to home right now, where I feel like we are living in the midst of the exact opposite of that. We are living in the midst of so much self-preservation, and it's hard to stomach at times. And while I don't ever long for that tragedy again, I long for that unity when we can come together and care for our neighbors and care for the least of these. And that is what Jesus was praising the righteous for doing, for feeding the hungry and giving something to drink for the thirsty and caring for those who are afflicted. And so I just want to go back to where we are right now. While there has, I guess, been a national tragedy, a global tragedy with this pandemic. We have been in the midst of fires, but just even beyond these tragedies that come up, we are still living in the midst of sorrow and a broken world. And we have an opportunity to not be numb to that, to go out and to just be Jesus's light in this world. And so I just want to reflect back to what David was talking about on Sunday. I loved his message, and I loved the challenge to be the neighbor that Jesus calls us to be, and to come to Fremont and to grow and to learn and to be fed, and then go out and just share God's greatness and love and grace with all of those off of our campus, with the least of these, with those that Jesus calls us to. So I pray that for our church. I know that our session, our leadership is praying that for our church. And I look forward to joining you all in doing that and just growing so that we can continue to work towards our mission of going out and transforming our neighborhoods, our city, and our world.